used to think love was supposed to heal. That it would be a sanctuary, a refuge from chaos. That's what they tell you when you're young, find the one who steadies you. But I never trusted steady. Steady felt false, like silence before an explosion. I grew up where affection blurred with threat, where attention was scarce, inconsistent, dangerous. So maybe it makes sense that I learned to crave the very thing that destroys me. People ask me, why does forbidden love feel addictive? And I can give the easy answer, the dopamine rush. The racing pulse. The way danger sharpens desire. But I can also tell you the truth. I've lived it. I've carried it in scars. I've tested the theory in the dark, and the experiment nearly consumed me. The brain calls it chemistry. Dopamine, cortisol, adrenaline. The psychology textbooks compare it to gambling. Intermittent reinforcement. Love delivered in fragments, never guaranteed, always uncertain. And they're right. It's the not knowing that keeps us hooked. The missed call that makes the returned message feel like salvation. The night you can't have that makes the stolen hour feel holy. The professor taught me that lesson first. He never crossed a line you could prove, but he didn't need to. His attention came in crumbs, a gaze that lingered, a pause in his voice, a hand that brushed mine too long. Each fragment left me starving for the next. Every time he withheld, my chest tightened. Every time he gave, I felt high. I told myself it was love, but it was something simpler, the way hope feels when it's rationed. I learned his schedule like a prayer, timed my steps to accidentally meet him by a door that stuck in winter, memorized the sound of his shoes on the tiles so I could turn just as he turned. It wasn't romance, it was chasing a slot machine that sometimes paid out a smile. And when he looked past me on the days I needed him to see me most, I felt the small, private collapse that keeps addicts coming back for one last try. Years later, there was the married man. A husband. A father. A life already spoken for. He should have been untouchable, and that was exactly why I wanted him. Scarcity makes the forbidden fruit taste like oxygen. With him, every meeting felt like rebellion, hotel rooms with curtains pulled tight. Phones turned face down. Voices sliced off the instant footsteps approached. The danger was intoxicating. My body hummed with fear of being caught, then melted with relief when the door latched and the world fell away. I told myself it was love, but sometimes I think I was addicted to the trespass itself, the thrill of stepping over a line I wasn't supposed to touch. He wasn't kinder or truer than men who were free to choose me. He was simply unavailable. And unavailability, when you're wired like me, wears a crown. Then there was the friend. No vows, no scandal, no locked doors. Just absence, in the place I needed him most. He called when the nights were too long, let me carry his secrets like relics, leaned on me until dawn, and then set me back on the shelf where friends belong. He never touched me. Never chose me. That is the worst kind of forbidden love, the kind where no one says no, but no one says yes either. I stayed because that silence felt familiar. I grew up on love that appeared and disappeared without warning. Love that made me chase. Love that made me prove I was worthy by waiting. So I repeated it. I called my waiting loyalty, called my ache devotion, called my hunger depth. In truth, I was rehearsing the same old wound, trying to turn starvation into proof I deserved a feast. There's a special kind of dizziness that comes from reaching for someone who steps back as gently as he can. It's easy to mistake that softness for care when it's only caution. There was another night. An office after hours. A door that didn't close all the way. Footsteps in the corridor. The ridiculous hush of breath we tried to smother with our mouths. That's what danger does. It turns terror into ecstasy. The body doesn't always know the difference. Your heart pounds from fear, and the mind relabels it as desire. why the forbidden feels so alive. You're trembling on the edge of consequence. And once you've stood there, it's hard to go back to anything calmer. Afterwards, even kindness feels dim. You start to believe that love must be measured by how much you're willing to risk to touch it. Secrecy itself became a kind of intimacy. We built rituals of concealment. Don't text twice in a row. Don't park in the same place. Don't use names in daylight. We invented alibis with the precision of jewelers, deleted messages before sleep, memorized the quietest stairwells and the noisiest bars. We learned the choreography of vanishing, arrive separately, leave apart, look straight ahead. We kept spare stories in our pockets like passports and practiced goodbye in 3 steps: release, breathe, smile. Rituals bind people, ours were simply covert. And secrecy plays tricks on the mind. It convinces you the love must be extraordinary, because why else would you protect it so fiercely? 2 people against the world feels irresistible, even when the world isn't actually watching. And of course, we wrapped it all in myth. We needed it to mean something. The professor became my test. The married man, my punishment. The friend, my tragic almost. Once, when a storm killed the power the night he finally said he could meet, I swore the universe was jealous, that it kept putting barriers between us because our love burned too brightly for ordinary life. The human mind can't bear emptiness, so it fills the gap with stories. We make epics out of mixed signals and prophecies out of coincidences. It's easier to suffer if you can call the pain holy. It's easier to keep going if fate is the reason you can't stop. But when it ends, and it always ends, the ache doesn't leave with it. The body remembers. The craving lingers. A scent in a grocery aisle. A laugh from a stranger. A message at 2 in the morning, and the fire is back, burning in a room you thought you'd sealed. That's the cruelty of forbidden love. Even after it's gone, the wanting remains. Safe love can feel flat after that kind of high. Consistent affection can feel pale next to stolen passion. Once you've burned yourself on fire, warm water feels cold. Healing, I learned, is letting warmth be enough again, learning to taste steadiness without calling it bland, learning to sit through a quiet evening without mistaking peace for emptiness. So yes, forbidden love feels addictive, because it is. The rush. The scarcity. The wounds. The danger. The secrecy. The myth. And the way it lingers long after. Every part conspires to hook you. It isn't foolishness. It isn't weakness. It's the way body, memory, and story line up against you. But alignment isn't destiny. Patterns are persuasive, not prophetic. The same brain that learned to crave can learn to release. Repetition taught the hunger, and repetition can teach the calm. Once, I tried a different kind of experiment. I put my phone in a drawer at dusk and promised my body we would survive an hour without reaching. I named the feelings as they came: craving, panic, ache, anger, because naming gives them walls. I boiled water and watched it roll. I wrote the message I wasn't going to send and read it back until the words sounded like they belonged to a stranger. I walked to the window and counted the lit windows across the street, the lives unfolding without me. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't romantic. But the wanting moved through like weather, arrival, storm, thunder, clearing, and when it passed, the room was still here, and so was I. The next night, the hour became 90 minutes. I learned that sometimes the bravest thing is to let the craving crest without answering it. And still, here's the truth I can't escape. I know the terms. I can trace the patterns. I can name every mechanism. But when I close my eyes, I don't remember the theory. I remember the fire. The professor's gaze across a lecture hall. The sound of a key turning in a door while I hid in silence. The weight of a friend's voice at 2 a.m. saying he needed me, but not enough. I remember the feeling of being chosen in the shadows and discarded in daylight, and how quickly I volunteered for that audition again. I wasn't only chasing them. I was chasing the aliveness, the heightened arousal, the sense of risk, the illusion that love was worth bleeding for. Forbidden love convinces you that what hurts the most must mean the most. That suffering equals intimacy. That danger equals depth. It lies beautifully, and sometimes beauty is enough to make a life feel like a home. And here's the final cruelty, part of me still believes it. Even knowing the psychology, even tracing the scars. There are nights when I'd trade every safe kiss I've ever had for one more dangerous one. Because once you've burned at that intensity, you never forget the flame. But the truth I whisper now is this: desire doesn't care if it kills you. That's why we chase it. Survival, real survival, is learning to walk away while the fire is still behind you, not when it has already consumed you. Some doors have to stay closed so that your life can stay open. The question is never why forbidden love feels addictive. The question is whether you can bear to live without the addiction. And most of us, we don't answer it until it's too late. If you're listening for a sign, consider this one. Let the next missed call be just a missed call. Let the next quiet night be proof that peace is not empty, it's full of the life you get to keep.